This is the Vision with Execution show. My name is Adam Torkildson. I'm the host and founder of the podcast. And my guest today is Brittany Hansen. And Brittany, I really want to try and give you as much time to do as much talking as we possibly can fit into about 30 minutes. So first of all, tell me and my listeners about you and any backstory that you want us to understand about you.
Great. So, and firstly, thank you so much for having me on today. I'm so excited to chat with you. So really, I am just a person who loves to learn, and I like to take new things on all the time. When I was 30, I needed something new, so I learned to play the harp. I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm a member of a car club. I have been married for 20 years this year, and I have 4 kids. My 2 oldest are both twice exceptional, so they're on the autism spectrum and they're gifted as well, which was a steep learning curve for my husband and I. They are only 18 months apart, so we learned very, very quickly with them that life was going to look different than we thought it was ever going to look. And so for 13 years, I did therapy, different kinds of therapies with them, about 5 times a week, and really threw myself into being a mom. And then at that 13-year mark, they became really quite functional on their own, and they didn't need me very much anymore. And I looked at my life and thought, okay, what is the next step? And my sister-in-law approached me with an idea that she had about making information delivery easier. And I loved it so much that my husband and I decided to invest, and then I decided to come into the business with her. And that's what we've been doing for the last 7 years, is really revolutionizing the way that businesses communicate with consumers and trying to fix broken communication in general. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been wild. So,
okay.
I mean,
I've got some questions.
Let's do it.
Okay. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, I may or may not be publishing this as a video, but for anybody that might end up watching this, you don't look like you would be somebody who would do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Not that I know what that should look like or anything, but I just recently watched a couple of videos of Royce Gracie and the Gracie family, who are the ones that I believe invented Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Is that correct?
Essentially, yeah. So my coach he knows the Gracies. He owns the Alliance gyms. His name's Gigi Paiva, or Alexandra Paiva. And you're right. I don't look like the typical Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. I'm the smallest on our team, and it's really, but it's becoming more and more. There's more women there than you think, and there is a real strategy to being small in a grappling sport. It's all about mind over matter, and it's actually trained me really well for business to be thinking, okay, I'm pinned. This looks really bad for me. How do I get out of this situation? And the strategy that comes along with something like that, especially when you're not the strongest person in the fight, trains your brain to think through emergency situations and handle rushes of adrenaline and really be able to put yourself through it and come out on the other side. It's a really fun thing. If anybody's ever thought about it, for sure do it. I'm competing in World Masters in August and in Las Vegas, and really excited about it. So
wow.
if you've ever wondered if jiu-jitsu is for you, it probably is. It's a lot of fun.
That's so cool that you're competing in it in what sounds like a worldwide competition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
There will be at least 8,000 competitors there. It'll be
Holy
big.
cow.
Yeah.
And so I've never watched UFC very much, or a whole lot of. I'm not a fan of any one individual sport. I do love watching the highlights of a lot of different types of fighting styles, whether it's boxing or UFC or wrestling, even, like all the different ways that people can fight each other one-on-one. I love watching some of those highlight films. So, but in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, do they pair you up with somebody your same gender, same size, or does it not work like that?
So usually, yes, it depends on if you're going for overall kind of I win in this bracket, but it's still usually woman to woman. I do compete in my size bracket, except at my gym where I'm the smallest. And so I'm just grappling with whoever is there. But when I compete, I do compete with women who are roughly my age and who are roughly my size and
Okay,
who have roughly my capabilities. So we're all, blue belts, and that can mean a lot of different things. But
gotcha. So they do try and equalize it a little bit when you get to competition.
when you get to competition, they sure do. But
Gotcha.
I'll be honest, there's something that is a lot of fun about trying to figure out your way around like somebody who's 250 pounds and 6'2". I'm 5'1" and 115. So like there is something very thrilling about figuring that out and trying to save yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if no one has ever watched Royce Gracie and his first initial UFC wins, he
Mhm.
was going against guys that were probably twice his weight, and they outmatched him physically in every way you can possibly think, and he just destroyed them in
Mhm.
minutes. And that there's a lot of I have a lot of respect for anybody that can do that in any sport, but he seems to be one of the ones that like stands out for
Yeah.
people who do that sort of thing a lot. And I guess that in Brazilian jiu-jitsu in general, that's sort of the end goal is just to use the leverage that you have available to you to get the other person to submit as quickly as possible. And I'm no expert and I don't want to put words in your mouth or anything, but
No, you're
I'd
right.
love that you do it. And also, I don't want to spend our whole episode talking about it either because you
Fair.
my audience is made up of entrepreneurs and business owners, and I think what you're doing professionally is really interesting. And before we get into what it is you do specifically for businesses, um, maybe you could answer one of my questions that I try and ask everybody, which is, what is your vision for 2025?
So that is a great question. I turned 40 this year, and so I wanted this year to be different and special. My vision for the end of this year is that I will be on a TED Talk stage by the end of the year. And we're traveling a lot internationally, and so the most important thing for me is to help people understand that as difficult as the world is right now, there are really good people out there trying to make a difference. And we can fix so many of our problems if we just communicate with each other in a meaningful way. I want to make a dent in that this year. And I want to do that by being on the TED Talk stage and by traveling internationally and really sharing our message. And I'm
So
excited
yeah,
about it.
I was going to ask why the TED Talk route, but you answered that question for me, and it's because you want to talk to more people about a topic that you're passionate about. And I do know that the TED Talk stage and the videos that they produce, they can get watched millions of times. So I think that's a great vision. How are you going to execute that into a reality?
So right now I'm working with an organization called Women in Cloud because one of our partners is Microsoft on our business side. And I have a TED Talks coach there who's helping me actively work on my message. I'm coming on podcasts with amazing people like you to hone my messaging skills and to hone my own communication skills. I'm traveling internationally next week. I'm speaking in Brazil um, to make sure that my skills are where they need to be so that when the time comes that I can share my message, I'm ready to do so. Um, and I feel strongly that dedication and figuring out what your mission is and then staying true to it is the best way to accomplish anything. It took me a minute to figure out what my mission was once my children, were doing things on their own. And I am a very religious person, so God was very involved in that for me, and this is what I was led to. And so I will do everything in my power to make sure that those goals are reached.
That's awesome. I love that you brought up God. I talk about him on every single one of my episodes, and I'm a conservative Christian myself. And I was going to ask, do you speak Portuguese?
Not very well. I know enough Portuguese to say that I could say eu não falo português, which is like I do not
I don't
speak
speak it.
Portuguese, right? I have been learning. One of my best friends is Brazilian, and so she's been trying to teach me. I do not speak it well enough that that's what I'll be speaking when I'm on the stage there. So
And why Brazil as your international speaking gig?
because well, partially because I was invited. So our business is going on an international trade mission with the United States government to Brazil, to the Worldwide Forum, and they asked me to speak on stage while we're there.
Oh,
So
awesome. How did
yeah,
you get that opportunity?
to go on a trade mission.
Yeah, to be involved with the trade, the government trade organization. I don't
Oh,
even know exactly what that means, to be honest.
so that is a really fun story. And anybody who's an entrepreneur, I would advise you to get involved with commerce and get involved with trade missions. They are very, very friendly for small to medium-sized businesses. My co-founder and I we went on the very first women in tech trade mission that the United States ever did. And that process is actually not crazy hard. If you go to their website, you can see all the different trade missions that are being offered. You apply and you fill out, there is quite a bit of paperwork, and then you'll interview with them. And if there are matches for you in other countries where our government is going, they will actively work to set up meetings with them inside of government buildings. They'll work to set you up with the government, and your trades can be insured by Ex-Im Bank, which means you're taking on very little liability to do trade in other countries, because Ex-Im Bank will do all of the work for you so that your money is safe and secure. It's the easiest way to go global. They do things like gold key services where they set up, I mean, we've had meetings inside of some of the most posh buildings I've ever been in my life. And they do it at a fraction of the cost of what it would cost you to do yourself. If you're an entrepreneur and you have ever thought about doing something global, please get connected with commerce. If you want to know how, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I will connect you with people. It's an unreal service that's out there and people don't know about it.
Yeah, I didn't either. And I am going to take you up on that after our episode. I'm an entrepreneur myself, started a couple of businesses, exited a couple, and those are the people that listen to my show, because these are all my friends, you know, all 10 or 15 of whoever listens to my show. So I love that. That's great advice. And I love talking about things that I've never learned about before. And that's one of the goals of my show, is to learn new things as much as possible. So I appreciate that. That's awesome.
It's so much fun. For sure. Check it out.
So you're going to Brazil to speak, and now we didn't really get into exactly what it is that your business does. You talked about making communication better for small businesses, but how exactly do you do that?
So that is a fantastic question. I don't know how many of your listeners are already familiar with marketing. It's what I went to college for. And what we're finding right now, and everyone kind of in the marketing industry, is that communication is very broken. Nobody wants to see your ads on Instagram while they're doom scrolling. Nobody wants to be interrupted in their viewing of their shows by your commercials. The customer in general is very wary anymore. We don't naturally give trust to companies anymore. And so companies are at a loss for how to communicate with people. So what happened is we built a tech platform that allows companies through a QR code or a text message or beacon to have one-on-one interactions with customers in the language that's on their phone. So we patented the ability to do that as well, to check the home language of the phone and then automatically deliver messaging in that language on our platform. The reason that we did that is because we're finding websites are not effective anymore. Most websites have a 90% bounce rate, which means that 90% of the people who come to your website leave within just a few seconds. And there's a huge portion of the world that doesn't speak English, but so many businesses are prepared to speak only in English, and more than 20%, even in America, do not speak English as their primary language. How are businesses supposed to communicate with those people? In general, they can't.
Right.
So
So
we jump
your
into that
your
space.
tool, does it sit as like a chat feature on a website, or how do you integrate it?
It's not a chat feature, it's a web app. And we do have the ability to integrate API with other things. But what we really do is then on our platform, which is called Vision, create microsites which allow you to gather analytics, allow you to communicate with people, allow you to send forms, allow you to do all of the things that a website would do at a fraction of a cost that a website costs. And we build everything out for you. It's fully white glove. And then we deliver you the QR codes and the links so that you can have full access to your customers.
Do you have a free trial of some kind?
So we stopped doing free trials a little while ago because we found that people don't value what's given to them for nothing. What we can do instead is we've rolled out a teeny tiny fraction of our services in digital business cards with microsites attached to them so that you can see that we're experts in helping you communicate who you are to other people. We'll help you build out a digital business card with your digital portfolio attached. And that gives you the opportunity at a very small cost to see what we're capable of. And then we can help you upscale when you're ready. And we bring in our marketing team and all of our people who specialize in personas and all of that. It's actually a really fun process.
So how is AI impacting you guys, or are you using it very much?
Oh, all the time. AI, we joke, we're a female founded company. We joke that AI is our boyfriend because we chat with AI all the time. I know there are so many people afraid of AI, but the way that it can be used to amplify your business and amplify your message is absolutely unreal. So, but it's also really important, and there's a caveat there to make sure nothing loses the human touch as you're doing those things. My favorite way to use AI is as a springboard. If I'm stuck for ideas or we're not really sure how to help a person talk about themselves, we'll plug information into AI. It will spit something back out to us. We'll spend some time really engineering that information, making it what it should be, and then we'll feed it back through to make sure it hits the right tone, that the messaging is clear, that we're connecting with the right audience. And then we use Midjourney is by far my favorite piece of AI. I use it all the time for images, and then I will often feed those images through, and I hope I'm not getting too in the weeds with my AI tools.
No, this is good. This is good.
I will feed my images through Runway, which then creates B-roll for me that's live B-roll that's fully branded to either me or to our clients. AI is incredible. What can be done? It's my favorite thing.
That reminds me. Have you heard of the show? It's on Amazon Prime, the House of David.
I have not. I don't watch a lot of TV, but please tell me about it.
Well, it's the story of David and Goliath from the Bible.
Okay.
And they have produced it incredibly well. Season 1, I think, is just finishing uploading to Prime. Like they release an episode every Thursday, and I've loved watching it. It's a lot like The Chosen, if you ever heard of that.
I love The Chosen. I'm a huge fan.
I'm also a huge fan. So it wasn't produced by the same team or anything, but they have storified the story of David, and I just read on LinkedIn this morning that they used AI to produce 72 of their moving shots as part of the series.
It doesn't surprise me. It's like truly amazing. There's a AI film festival in Seattle in the coming weekends because what it's capable of doing and enabling creators to do is just, it's mind-blowing. It's a gift. I promise it is. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah. And I highly recommend House of David as a show to watch. If you like The Chosen, you should watch it.
I will definitely check it out. We'll do that.
Yeah, it actually is one of the, if not the highest rated, it is the highest rated show on Amazon right now, which I think is awesome because 20 years ago, we did not have this kind of Christian content mainstream at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Lost in the Weeds. Hollywood wouldn't touch it. And now everybody's kind of jumping on the bandwagon of good Christian themed, principle based entertainment. and I'm all for it.
For sure. I love not having to cover my own eyes or my kids' eyes while I watch things or plug our ears or,
Yeah.
so that's fantastic.
And by the way, speaking of kids and family, I've been married 20 years as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My wife and I met through church. And so we watched the Ben Shapiro show, and he did an episode, I think it was yesterday or the day before or something, about statistically how kids, young adults these days, kids in their early 20s, they're finding it more and more difficult to actually find someone that they would want to marry, because there aren't a lot of places to do that anymore. If you want to find somebody who shares your same values, the only real venue to do that is a church building.
It's true. That's where I met my husband too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So kudos to you for staying in that marriage and raising those kids. I can't think of a more noble, important cause for humans than to raise another generation of well-adjusted people who are willing to go and create families of their own. Mm-hmm. Because I truly believe the family is the most important unit of society.
I do too. And so and your audience, my first and most important mission was being a mom. Which is why I didn't get into this until my children were very stable and I felt that now was the time to do something else. My true gift to the world is these beautiful little children that my husband and I have created, and in partnership, obviously, with God, and what I believe they will do for the world. Anything I do is secondary to that.
Yeah, I love that. I really appreciate the fact that you say that out loud. I know that there's a lot of voices right now who see things completely opposite from that, for the role that women should play in society. And I will not speak on behalf of women, but I will say my own wife has been a huge blessing to me in so many ways, because she was willing to stay home and raise our kids to the point where they were fairly self-sufficient. And now she has a full-time job as a therapist. She went to school after we'd been married for a decade. And I think for her, that worked out even better than it would have if she would have done it, at the beginning of our marriage. Mm-hmm. And she was the one that paid for me to go through school initially. And now we do a lot of, we both work from home. Her office is right next to mine. She has her therapist clients come in, and I do a bunch of Zoom virtual calls, and it's really fun being able to work side by side with your spouse, even though we're in different businesses. But anyway, I did not want to take the stage. And
this is a fantastic conversation, and kudos to your wife. I did much the same thing when my husband and I got married. We got pregnant very quickly after getting married, so within 6 months. So I stopped going to college. I finished college and my degree in 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing! So, congratulations.
There are ways of doing the things, and the biggest portion of that for me, and it sounds like for you and your wife, was having a partner who was supportive of me and the things that I wanted to do, and we supported each other. That's so important.
Very, 100%. Yep. And we had good examples of, from our own parents, even though both of our parents got divorced within their first 15, 20 years of marriage. My parents actually got remarried to each other 26 years after they got divorced. They got remarried.
Wow. That is really rare. You don't hear things like that very often.
No.
How amazing.
And this is one you probably have never heard before. Tell me if I'm wrong, but okay. My dad was a circus clown when I was growing up.
No, the only other person I've heard that from is Nate Bargatze.
Yep. And I know Nate, and I've been to his show, and he's I think he's probably my favorite stand-up comedian right now.
Me too.
But
He's so great.
I think my dad is where I got my humor from, and that's about it. And I actually have spent a lot of time thinking about how to be the complete opposite of my dad in a lot of the ways that I parent and show up for my family. Because my dad was an alcoholic, but it's I love being able to talk about my backstory and then talk about where I'm at today, because it was all through a series of choices I had to make, and I get to choose how I show up, how I think, how I act, and my past and my appearance. That doesn't impact me very much at all anymore. It's all about removing those limiting beliefs and creating those visions and executing them into reality. So that's why I like talking to other people about how they're doing it too. And I love how you were able to articulate how you're going to use TED Talks, get on the stage. That's probably not something you're completely comfortable doing, I would suspect.
It's something I've had to learn how to do. I am naturally an introvert, um, but I realized not that long ago, actually, that I had a unique voice and a unique message, and nobody else was going to share my message for me.
Yep.
So it's time to develop a voice, and it's time to get out there. And I'm grateful for the people who are led to me. I'm grateful I have a coach. I'm grateful for the opportunities that have been extended to me, and for the opportunities to practice like I have with you today. Thank you for empowering that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And I tell everyone who comes on the show, I want this to be a platform for you to talk about whatever you need to, and to practice if you need to, and just be a platform for you to get some benefit, and hopefully some cool sound bites for the people who want to listen to the show. Speaking of which, we are out of time, and I have loved every minute of this. I have a ton of respect for you in professionally, and as a mom, and as a fellow Christian. It's always good and nice to meet somebody else who puts God first in their life.
Well, thank you. It's been such a pleasure, and the feelings of respect are totally mutual. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So this has been the Vision with Execution show. My name's Adam Torkildson. I've had Brittany Hansen on here, and I'll put a link to her website in the episode description. So anybody who wants to follow her journey and see what she does at TEDx eventually, also probably connect with her on LinkedIn.
Yeah, please.
Okay, awesome.